Hey guys, my name is Zach. I'm the owner of Fit Mechanical out of Phoenix, Arizona, and today we're going to be going over the assembly of the brand new VANDER M4. Assembly step number 1 on your new VANDER M4 begins with opening the crate, unboxing the contents, and laying those contents out on the floor. Prior to assembling your new VANDER M4, you will find that the unit does come with all the tools you'll need to build it. However, to make the assembly process easier, we would recommend some sort of drill or driver, a ratchet, an adjustable wrench, sizes 14 and 17 open-end wrenches, a 14 millimeter socket, a 17 millimeter socket, a 19 millimeter socket, and a 1 1/4 inch socket. Prior to beginning assembly step number 2, it's important to note a couple of different sizes on your bolts. You will be using all of the shorter bolts on assembly step number 2. You won't begin to use your longer bolts until assembly step number 3. It's important that you also do not tighten any of your bolts until the very end of the assembly. To begin step number 2 on the assembly of the VANDER M4, we're going to be building each side individually. Each side is going to include 3 upright positions, and 2 of those upright positions will be secured with bolts that come from the bottom of the base. You'll note that these bolts are coming from the bottom here and going up. It'll attach like this, and you'll put the nut and the washer side on top of these uprights. As we continue on with assembly step number 2, it's important to note a couple of things about this front upright. We do want these numbers facing forward. It's also important to note when we install this front upright, we want this trolley assembly added to the machine prior to installing that upright. As we continue on with the assembly of your VANDER M4, you'll see that as the sides begin to take shape, that you'll definitely need a second pair of hands. As we wrap up with assembly step number 2 on your VANDER M4, you'll find that both sides of your machine are beginning to take shape. What you'll need to do prior to moving on to step number 3 is adding this back brace. This back brace will 1, make it more stable, and 2, free up your hands to continue on with more steps. Prior to moving on to step number 3 on your VANDER M4, it's important to note that your machine should look exactly like this machine right here. You'll want to have the numbers facing forward and oriented here with this trolley. Your large holes on the Smith machine uprights should be facing in, and all of your Allen bolts on your rear uprights should also be facing each other. As we begin assembly step number 3, you'll need to have both of these plates handy. We're going to begin by putting these plates up and sandwiching them together. It's important to note at this time that this cutout faces to the inside of the machine. Continuing on with assembly step number 3, we are going to now add this rear brace, our pull-up bar, and our pegboard. We're going to install our pull-up bar with the 4 bolts that we had left bare. We're also going to install this rear brace with the 4 bolts that we left bare. You're then going to install this pegboard. It's important to note when you install the pegboard that you are going to start using these very large washers, nuts, and bolts. It's also important to note that you will be installing these weight plate storage horns at the same time you do the pegboard to ensure that we have the correct alignment. On top of that, staying with this assembly step number 3, it's important to note that we have 5 holes between this top bracket and the beginning of your pegboard. It's also important to note that in between your top storage peg and your middle storage peg that you've got 7 holes here. On the bottom, you're also going to want these 7 holes in between your peg storage horns. We're now going to begin step number 4 in the assembly process of your new VANDER M4. It's important to note that prior to sliding any of the weight stacks on, that you have the 2 rubber bumpers on your guide rods in place prior to putting any of the weight stacks on. It's also important to note that you do have 24 individual weight stacks on each side. It's also important to note that when you're sliding these weight stacks on, that you have the fat part of these bushings facing up. While installing the weight stacks and guide rods, it's important to be proactive in regard to the alignment of your weight stack. If you are noticing that that weight stack is misaligned, a simple moving back and forth of your guide rods, that little bit of a wiggle right there, should bring your weight stack into alignment in order for you to get your guide rods up into their holders. Each one of your top hats on your weight stack has 4 adjustment bolts. These adjustment bolts can tilt or lean to better improve the alignment of the center guide rod. We're now going to start assembly step number 5 on your new VANDER M4. That assembly step number 5 is going to include your entire Smith machine bar. We're going to start by installing all of these chrome pegs into that middle upright. Again, we want all of our pegs to face towards the middle. Each one of these Smith machine pegs is going to be held on by a washer and a very small bolt. Each one of those pegs is going to require one of those bolts coming from the outside. Continuing on with this step of the assembly, we're now going to be installing our Smith machine guide rod. This Smith machine guide rod goes on just like so. You're going to put this safety catch on first. You're then going to put one large washer, the spring, then another washer, then your Smith machine bearings. Should be in this orientation: spotter, washer, spring, washer, bearing carriage. So wrapping up with that assembly step number 5, you now have your Smith machine bar in place, and you can tell it's properly in place because this safety catch is right where it should be. We're now going to begin assembly step number 6. Assembly step number 6 is going to include installing all 8 of your pulleys on each side and your cable on each side. You've got 8 total pulleys on each side, 2 small pulleys and 6 medium-sized pulleys. We'll be showing you exactly where to put each one of those pulleys as we lace the cable. When installing the pulleys and the cable system, keep in mind that you will be utilizing all of your black spacers. Your black spacers will come in handy anytime you're putting one of the long bolts through a pulley. You won't need them for the short bolts, but you will absolutely need the spacers for all of the long bolts that hold pulleys. So the following is the cable routing. So you're gonna start right here. You're gonna go through 2 of the medium-sized pulleys. You're gonna come up here, over another medium-sized pulley here with both spacers. You're gonna come all the way to the back here, over another medium-sized pulley with 2 spacers, down to your top hat. That's where you're gonna utilize one of the smaller pulleys here on your top hat. Then you're gonna come up here, over another medium pulley here with 2 spacers, over another medium pulley with 2 spacers here. You're gonna come all the way back down to that small pulley again. That's gonna be your second small pulley. And then you're gonna come up here and you're gonna lock it in. That's gonna be the shortest bolt that you have that's gonna lock it to the carriage. You can now also put on the pulley front covers after threading the pulley cables through each one. During any step of the assembly process, you can add several of your accessories, one of which are these band pegs. You've got one for each side, and they're both gonna go right here. You've also got a landmine attachment that can sit like this. It can sit like this, and it can sit on either side of the unit. We're now going to be wrapping up step number 6 by installing the outside shrouds. You've got 6 pre-installed Allen bolts on either of the rear uprights that you're going to be using to attach that shroud.
You also want to install the shrouds with the V facing up.
So you can now grab your wrenches and grab your drill and tighten every single one of those bolts. There are 3 accessories that will need minor assembly. Those accessories include your low row foot plate, your lap pull down seat, and your multi-position dip bar. This multifunctional bench is already 90% completed. What you will have to do is put this rear stabilizer on with the 2 bolts that were included. Included in the attachments for your adjustable bench are going to be 6 foam rollers like this. They're going to go on all 6 pegs. Each roller will have a large washer and bolt that will keep them in place. So continuing on with the attachments for your adjustable bench, we're now going to assemble the preacher curl attachment. That's going to include this large arm as well as your bar storage that's going to come off of this arm. All right, guys, once you finished up with that last step on the assembly, you're now looking at the complete build of the new VANDER M4. We've got all of the accessories on it, everything that comes included with the unit. It's looking really, really nice, really bulky, really, really strong unit. Good luck to you and enjoy your workouts.